G'day, this is Dragon Barrow's video. Uh, there's this beautiful new TV show called Bel-Air. Well, it's on Stan over here in Australia, but it's on the Peacock network in America. But I don't know why the streaming services it's on. But I've been watching a lot of videos saying, "Oh, it's stupid. You shouldn't do it like that. You should be this way. It should be like the Will Smith version when of the back in the 1990s, back in the late 80s, early 90s." I say to that's a load of hogwash. That's a load of bullshit. The reason why I say that is it's retelling a story. It's retelling of a tale, virtually. And the retelling for a newer audience shouldn't be slammed. The themes that are back in the that were back in late 80s, early 90s. Some of it is still around today because of politicians don't want to change the dynamics. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do the other. But that's with politics, and the reason why things are not changed from the 90s that much is because of politicians that want to keep a certain group of people down, which I find to be ludicrous. And people who are slamming this, I would have to say that they are like those politicians that want to keep a certain group of people down. Like, I've seen the 2019 trailer and I was like, this is different. Not funny, but it's different. To watching I've watched all the episodes so far. Well, so far they can be broadcast in Australia. I'm like, whoa. Carlton has problems. Hillary is written better than the Hillary of the 1980s, like 1980s, late 80s, early 90s. I must admit, those people who wrote Hillary back in the first, like in the original Fresh Prince, they should have done a better job in the whole Hillary character. She can be funny and smart at the same time. Nothing against the actress who played Hillary Banks back then, but you got to know that intelligence can be funny. You could have predated the Big Bang Theory with having like they put the fun the funny smart character with James Avery and Philip Banks. Love you very much, James Avery. Thank you for all you did for us. And I'm like, okay, this is I'm like, whoa, like the whole house has changed and all this other stuff. To say that it is a lesser product, it's like comparing Mozart to Beethoven. They're classical musicians, but one did the classical musician thing one way and another did theirs the other way. Or it's like saying Ozzy Osbourne versus Lemmy from Motorhead. both British-born metal artists. Both come from downtrodden areas, but yet they have a different approach to the metal genre. Or it's like saying Tupac Shakur versus Big E. One R&B star is from one side of America, and the other side comes from another side. Both sing in the same genre, but yet they bring different aspects. Bel-Air, or Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, is just that, a title. It's just that. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. If you said that in another universe or another realm, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air could be a pro wrestler. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air could be a nickname for an American footballer who just came out of University of Berkeley, like California, University of California in Berkeley type situation. Since he comes from Bel-Air, he's a hard hitter. He rules the football field, or rules the basketball court. And since he's from the Bel-Air region, he's the Fresh Prince. So he's a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The pro wrestler, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, could be from a Californian promotion. But yeah, he comes from Burbank. But still, the whole gimmick thing. And just Bel-Air. Bel-Air could be like a comedy. A Bel-Air could be in a different universe, or a different realm altogether. It could be the slums. So, what makes... So I'm asking these idiots... I'm asking these literal idiots here. I know I shouldn't be bringing myself down to their level, but I am bringing myself down to their level. What makes the 1980s, like the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Will Smith, so much different than this Bel-Air? One tells the stories with, like, they're funny first, but then there's an underlying story. But the other one has like a sledgehammer, and it slams you right between the eyes with the message. And it's so ridiculous to honestly think that people are literally saying, "Oh, it's silly, it's stupid." Or Carlton taking drugs. Ooh. If you don't remember, Carlton did take drugs in one of the first in the original Bel-Air season, or the original Bel-Air, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, because he thought it was vitamin pills that Will was taking. But in this one, due to anxiety and that, Carlton takes medication, and he's on the illegal stuff too. So one had a comical aspect of it. Another one is more the dramatic, live, more realistic sort of staging. They wrote, to be honest with you, they've written Hillary Banks so much better than the comical version. I would say that's a point for the new Bel-Air, because the new Bel-Air has Hillary Banks as being this entrepreneurial. She doesn't give money, but she has this new counterculture thing, Or she ain't going to write pathetic recipes for some bullshit white piece of garbage who only wants soft Midwestern United States cuisines to be highly showed on their platform. I love this Hillary Banks because she stands up. And she goes on social media, and I'm so happy that they've have Hillary Banks using using the technology at the time for the benefit of her community. Unlike the Hillary Banks from the Fresh Prince version, is like, oh, Daddy, can you give me like $400 so I can buy a new pair of shoes, a new dress, a new hat, and a new watch, because I'm going to this environmental protest with Bruce and Demi, one of the Estevizes, the famous people of the time. To me, that's like being like a spoiled brat. Nothing against the actress who played Hillary Banks in the original. She only did what she was told to do. Was written on the script. But then you gotta realize that through times changing, so is technology, and the Hillary Banks in this one, I have to say, is far better than the original. I love the Jeffrey in this modern one. I would have to say he is James Bond mixed with Wesley Snipes and Batman's Alfred Pennyworth. That is how cool this new Jeffrey is. And the actor who plays him, I would want to see him star in a spy, in a spy movie, because he is that damn good. He has it in his eyes, he has it in his face, that you fuck with me, I'm gonna fuck you and all your friends over. That's how much I love him. The woman who plays Vivian Banks, I must admit, it is pretty. For all the cast members, for the exception of the actress who plays Vivian, Aunt Vivian. She has to live up to two supreme actresses who wore the heels, And it's just so amazing to think that she has to go with it, And it's just so amazing to think that it's so great to see she has the feistiness of the first Vivian Banks, but then she's got this softness about her, with it coming to the love and compassion for Will and for Carlton. She's a bit more tougher on Hillary than in the original, than like any of the other two. But so what, She is trying to fill two sets of shoes, not just one. She has to fill two sets of shoes, and I must admit, she is doing a wonderful job. I love your work. Keep it up. There's nothing going to stop you from being the best dramatic version of Vivian Banks. And the young lady who plays Ashley Banks, though she's been in a few episodes, but they're not really that much. I say that if they put a bit more attention on her, let me just say that she will be a very good. She would fit the spot of Ashley Banks much better. But I haven't seen much of her to properly make a sound judgment. Jazz, I must admit, beautifully. It has the same. For me, it's the comedy is still there, but it's a bit more dramatic since Jazz he runs his own company, and for Hillary to help him out is beautiful, you know. It's sweet like that. But every single one of these characters has their original to turn to, for the exception of Adrian Holmes. Adrian, I know that James Avery, he's looking down on you. He wants you to succeed in being Philip Banks. He wants you to become Philip Banks. You are knocking it out of the. You're knocking it out of the. You're literally knocking it out of the stadium. You're knocking it out of the grounds. You're knocking it out of the field. Whatever the sports analogy you want, you are knocking the ball out of it. Keep up the good work. Your character, Adrian Holmes, was, for me, the make or break scenario when it comes to the franchise of Fresh Prince. The reason why I say that is because it would take a lot to balance that hard, like that hard. Is that the balance that James Avery did so well, and you were doing so well as well. Both of you are. When he balanced like the comedy and the seriousness, he did it perfectly. You are doing it perfectly for the dramatic. And this is one thing I don't like when it comes to. Though I haven't watched iCarly, the new one. I haven't watched the original one, so I can't complain. But I can compare the Ghostbusters. The 2016 one, the only one who was funny was Kate McKinnon. Because she knows comedy. All the others were like stereotypical, thin nerd girl, chubby nerd girl, and big bad attitude African American woman. It was actually Kate McKinnon that actually held that for me made the 2016 movie. If they put someone else in there, fuck that shit. The reason why I actually have that sort of love for the for that particular TV show is because of Kate McKinnon, because she acted like she brought her own thing. But that's for like another video. We're here for those, for me, challenging these idiots on saying why is the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air so much better than Bel-Air that's currently being shown on Peacock and on Stan. Well, Peacock in the USA and Stan over here in Australia. What is so much different that you have to say, Carlton is more of a dork, but he's an awkward dork that you don't like? Carlton in the original was starring Alfonso Rivera. Shit. Dorky and nerdy looking as freaking hell. And now you say, oh, this new guy. Ollie Shalotan. He's pathetic. He's useless. He can't act for shit. Let me tell you something. If you can do a better Carlton job, you fucking well do it. But I love this Ollie guy. The reason why I tell you I love this Ollie guy is because he's bringing something new to the Carlton character. I love him because he's bringing... this is like a dramatic version of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or now it's called Bel-Air. You are able to see the problems of that Carlton is having. Unlike in the comical ones back in the 90s, or late 80s, early 90s, in this one, guess what? You can see Carlton's problems. Back in there, you had to figure out what the problems were. And if it wasn't for Carlton saying things and things had to be done, guess what? They didn't get done. Now since Will, I love this dramatic one because Will can say, hey Carlton, why be such a dickhead for? Or why be such a pimp? Or why be such a fucking asshole? I'm not saying the other one. I'm leaving that word for some other people to say. Because it's their word, not mine. I'm a bloody gunda. It's an Indian thing. It's my insult term. Because I get to call myself that, and I get to call anyone else that. But still, to be honest with you, I am so happy that this TV show is out. I must admit, I love Fuller House on Netflix. I love Cobra Kai also on Netflix because Cobra Kai is a continuation of the story from the 80s. I love Fuller House, continuation from Full House from the same time period as Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And one thing you gotta learn, either like a continuation of the story or a reboot. If you give it a chance, like I've given the 2016 Ghostbusters a chance, and I don't like it. I don't like it because, as I said, 3 actresses are just going off bloody stereotypes. The Leslie Jones character, I forget her bloody name. Oh yeah, Patty. She acts like a typical, a stereotypical Black American woman. Ernie Hudson, on the other hand, acted like an everyman. An Hispanic could understand him, an Indian could understand him, a black man could understand him, a white man can understand him, a Native American could understand him. An average person trying to find a job, and they're willing to do anything to get that job. But that's, as I said, that's going to be for another video. Or if I made that video, I'm going to do another one on it. But still, I honestly love the aspect of it being more of like an open house situation instead of like a studio situation. I'm not putting down Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They had a hard job making hard-hitting topics back then and spin it in such a way where it can it can be funny, but on the Bel-Air side, guess what? What things were done in the like 80s and like the late 80s, early 90s, are literally thrown up. Like going, Carlton having a slight drug problem. One episode. Now this is being brought forth, being longer. One day they may get Carlton, like they may have Carlton coming out that as being a drug that being being a like a druggo, being a drug addict. I would love to see that in later episodes, but I know I won't be seeing it in this in this run. And you got to give the team props. The guy who did the trailer back in 2019. Shit, that took a lot of balls. And guess what? It got made. To hell with all these Power Ranger things on YouTube where they go, oh, we're retelling a story. I mean, it's only going to be 5 minutes long and we're not going to do anything with it. I'm like, this is back when I used to love Power Rangers. Now I don't like them that much, Netflix can sort off Power Rangers and bring in Super Sentai and have a huge chunk of Japanese content on all Netflix platforms. But until then, I'm going to buy each season on DVD. But there's one thing, but that's beside the point. Like, it took a brave man to do a trailer using different people to play the various roles of Will Smith, Carlton, Vi, Aunt Vivian, Philip, Lisa. That took a lot of guts and big cojones for that to happen. And I'm happy they did it because now this new show comes up. This retelling of a classic story comes up. I would love maybe Family Matters could also be in the works. Because I believe that both of them can be a part of the same universe. Like, Family Matters be more Burbank style, for the Bel-Air more up ritzy area. That's fine with me. But still, this leaves it open for that sort of comedy back in the day to be rehashed as a more dramatic sort of thing. And I would love to see more of a dramatic version of Family Matters, but that will be in the future. I'm a bit iffy with the modern telling of Sabrina, but that's different. I don't like the modern telling of Charmed. But this Bel-Air, I love. I love it for so many reasons. I love it because it's more down to earth. I love it because you're telling the story from a news perspective. I can't wait for them to tackle like a heart attack. I can't wait for them to tell like Will Smith's character, like the character Will Smith, for his father coming back, and he goes, "I know, hey son," that type of thing. I would love to see what was told in the original being hashed out in this sort of thing, and this hashed out in this landscape. You got to give this show a chance. It's like, oh, Carlton is dancing with a lot of white fellas who are chanting out the N word, and he's portraying he's kind. But now, if you have that sort of problem, there's going to be a lot of more problems coming up within the coming seasons. I would love to see it go for a full 6 seasons like the original did. A full 6 years of Bel-Air. Telling the same stories from back in the 90s, like 80s, early 90s. Retelling it today. And who knows, maybe people who watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Bel-Air, they may want to see a brand new version in another 30 years. By that time, I'll be 70. I'll be a 70-year-old man watching a more... It could be nerdy version. It could be a nerd version of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It could be more... Like... It could be the Dragon of Bel-Air. Instead of having an African American family, it could be done by like a Japanese family, or a Laotian family, or a South Korean family. This is what I love about like the stories I've been told. I love Bel-Air because it is, as I said, it has great story writing. It has great appeal. Will Smith, actually, the actor slash comedian slash songwriter, singer songwriter, he said yes. He loved the whole, like this whole trailer, and he wanted to get it made. He said, like before this, he said, I'm never going to touch the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. But now, because of a guy who did a wonderful trailer, he said, fine. I'm in. I'll do it. But you gotta realize, but nothing. There's no if and or buts about it. He's just like so. He's like open. He goes, oh wow, this is good. I want to put my name to it. I want to pitch to a station or a streaming service. Boom, and it's done. It took 2 years to do. 2 to 3 years, but still, it's got done. Like I'm half Indian on my dad's side, and I'm proud to be half Indian. But yet I'm also Scottish on my mum's side. Like I can turn something Scottish into something Indian, and I can turn something Indian into something Scottish. And that's what I love about this whole new Bel-Air thing. You can tell the same stories as from the original, just make it more dramatic. And again, to those who say, "Oh, it's dumb, it's this, that, and the other," guess what? You are gatekeeping. And trust me when I say this, gatekeepers are the worst. I'm Dragon Barrows, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye. Bye.